Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day, afternoon, evening, morning, late night, whatever time it might be for you. This will be your weekly reading for the week of August 17th through the 23rd. During that time, we're going to have a waning crescent moon, which is a time of surrender, rest, healing, time to get ready for that new moon that comes up on the 23rd. So we're going to just let go of things and kind of evaluate where we've been and decide what we would like to accomplish when that new moon starts. So please pay attention to those moon energies as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. Okay, your overall message for this reading: nothing is yet set in stone. All right, let's get that card to stand up first. Let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for this week. And as I'm shuffling, I would like to let you know that my weekly reminder this week is that you get out into nature. So get out, take a walk, go somewhere where there's just a nice view, get in some woods if you need to. It's a really great time if you're into bird watching, at least here in the United States. We've had so many birds. I was calling hummingbirds and I changed my feeders and I'd been neglecting them for a couple of weeks. So I didn't have any hummingbirds around, and I put hummingbird sounds on this big speaker I have outside. And the hummingbirds, it was amazing. They came, they were looking at the speaker, trying to figure out where, but it really called them in. So now the last few days, I've just really been enjoying watching those hummingbirds, but they came back. Anyway, what was I saying? My weekly reminder, sorry, went off on a tangent there, is that you get out in nature. So get out, take a walk. If you have the ability to be by some water, get out, listen to the ocean, listen to, a lake or a stream, but just really close your eyes and just really connect with nature at some point this week. It is, because of that waning crescent moon, it is a good time to just kind of rest and heal, and nature is really the best way to do that. Also, if you don't do it, grounding, get your shoes off, get in touch with the earth. So that's just my happy weekly reminder for you this week, Aries. Okay, without further ado, August 17th through the 23rd. Nothing is yet set in stone. Let's see what the Aries Collective has going on. Your overall present energy is judgment. Okay, interesting. So are you being judged? Are you judging someone? There's some sort of judgment going on, which, judgment is about learning and evolving, I think, so sometimes judgments need to be made. It brings a new awareness to a situation if you have to kind of make decisions and make judgments on things. So we'll see as your cards come out, but that seems to be the overall energy, is some sort of judgment going on here. Your current situation is the Eight of Pentacles. So something that you're really, really hard at work on. And I'm just getting intuitively that it may not be work. This may not be actual work related, but something that you have been hard at work on. It's something that you enjoy. It's something that you get lost in the moment doing. And maybe you're making some sort of judgment when it comes to that, but it's not necessarily related to like your actual job, your money making job, maybe some sort of passion that you're involved with, but something that you've been working really hard on. And it's something you really enjoy, but there's some sort of judgment that's coming with that situation. At the root of your situation is the Two of Pentacles. So, while you're so focused and so hard at work on it, it may leave you kind of juggling your time a little bit. I know if we have things that are outside our regular job, our money making job, sometimes that's not our passion, right? For some of us, sometimes it is. If you're lucky, it is. But for some people, juggling that passion thing that you love outside of your job is kind of a juggle. You're trying to make sure that you're spreading your time, wisely with, your own self-care with your friends, your family. If you have children, it's just your time gets really, really squeezed down. And so, but it appears that you are, kind of juggling all of that and doing it. And that's kind of the root of what this judgment is about. Maybe it's about, learning how to spend your time better, how to manage that time. What is in your recent past is the Empress. So yeah, something that you've definitely given birth to. that, and for some of you, this may be an actual child. It may be that you are, hard at work, keeping everything in the air because you've had the added life, fun and complication of adding a child to your life, which it definitely makes you reassess your time, right? You're managing time better. You're trying to, you're just spread a little bit more thin. So, and then also, even though this is our card of pregnancy, this could also be something that you have given birth to in the way of a project that's long term. It doesn't have to necessarily be a child. For some of you, it might be. For some, it won't be. For some, it's a creative project. Like maybe you're an artist and you have committed some time to painting theater sets, that sort of thing. So you're going to do it for the next year, or you've been doing it, but you've committed to this, and it's just something that you've committed to long term, and you enjoy doing it. It's like a passion thing that you do enjoy doing. What is on your mind this week is the Knight of Swords. So you're definitely thinking about some sort of action and maybe some sort of change. Maybe you've taken on too much. Maybe you want to take this on more. Maybe this is something that you think you could, actually, let me get my camera pointed down there so you can see all the cards. Maybe it's something that you think you can devote more time to. So let's see as this comes out. But yeah, something that you're really focused on. What is just ahead of you this week is, yeah, coming together with the Two of Cups here, and maybe some sort of partnership or some sort of collaboration. And does this mean that you're about to turn this into maybe something that's a little more lucrative, or you're going to spend a little more time on? But it looks like you may have a meeting coming up or something that's going on that's going to affect this decision. Also, we've got two twos on the table here, so you might want to look up angel number 22. We'll see if another one comes out, but see if that means anything for you. But yeah, something you've been hard at work on, but there's new action, maybe a new message that comes in about it, with this Knight of Swords, a new thought, some sort of intellectual thing, and it may lead to this meeting or come out of this meeting. But it does look like, there's someone that you're going to meet with or talk to that's maybe, your overall message was nothing is yet set in stone, but it might be about, you might have a conversation about a future here, doing something that again is not related to your current work, but something that's a little more in the creative realm, or just kind of a passion thing. Even though I'm not seeing any wands yet, I just get that feeling that this isn't about your actual job. Let's see what is in your advice situation is the Chariot. Yeah, so you're getting ready to make a move, and the advice here is get ready to make that move. You're kind of collecting the information, maybe you're asking the questions, how much does this pay? Can I make this move? Am I able to am I able to juggle this financially if I decide to kind of go the route of what my passion is, rather than and maybe it's just not as stable. I have a lot of entanglements with not only my own life, but other people that are in the arts. And sometimes those jobs are not, they're not the most solid. And, throughout the year, I guess sometimes, you have seasonal work where you might work here for a couple months and then go over here for a few months. And it seems like it might be that kind of thing and you're kind of, can I do this? Can I do this creative thing and make it? And you can do anything. So whatever you decide, it looks like you're collecting that information, can I make a go of this? And, I say go for it, whatever it is. The signs are kind of pointing to, it's not set in stone, but you're definitely gathering the information. So definitely gather information, do what you can to, mitigate any of the things, really think about the things that are keeping you from saying yes to this, and really look into them. You have to be realistic, but when it comes to certain things that involve passion, sometimes I just say go for it. It's going to work out at some point, right? It's going to work out in the end. What is beyond your control is a little bit of self-indulgence, which this may be, this could be, and especially when it is kind of a passion project, it does appear that way to others. I will use that word, others, by people who just don't understand that passion. And again, I'll go back to my own background. And for me, it was being a musician. And if people who are not a musician, they don't understand that you have to do it. It's not something that you just kind of choose. It kind of chooses you. And whatever capacity, you just have to do it. It's just something you don't get a choice. When other people might say, well, why are you working so hard at this thing and that thing, and take a break and that, you can't. You just got to keep going. It's something that you love to do, and it's you kind of live your regular day-to-day life so that you can do your passion thing. So I totally get that. Okay, what is your secret desire here, or what are you trying to avoid? Is the Page of Cups, which is kind of having a sense of humor about it, or this is a new path, and a new path and something that you love also. This is a cup, and even though I call this page kind of our, to me, it seems like the most humorous page of the bunch, and pages are about juvenile, and not juvenile in the way of being young, but maybe a new decision, although you may be young also, but it's like a new decision for you. You're juvenile in taking the first steps in doing something that you really love to do. So that's beyond your, that's either, or I'm sorry, that's either your secret desire or what you're trying to avoid. And that's kind of your big question this week is, are you trying to avoid this new thing that you love, or is it your secret desire to really just kind of go for it? Let's see where your outcome card is, yeah, Three of Wands. Wow. So thinking about the future, but this also may involve, this is definitely our card of new ventures. It's on your mind. This could also be a card of travel, but definitely this is you looking out into the future and thinking, can I make a go of this? Can I do this thing? Is this something that's realistic for me? And again, you have to answer those questions, but I'm always on the case of go for it, which in whatever it is. We only live once. You may succeed wildly, maybe the most awesome thing. You may fail, and if you do, that's okay too. I mean, we all learn through failure, so you can't be afraid to get out there and do something because of either of those things. So Aries, you guys tend to be a little bit insecure when it comes to some things like that, even though you will, you're the sign of the ram. You will plow right through and do a thing, but sometimes you tend to be a little bit insecure too. So let's buck up that, the try it attitude. Again, nothing is yet set in stone. You're definitely gathering the information to see if you can make this move or not, but it's on your mind. I don't even see a solution coming this week, but it's churning in there. So I'm going to say let that churn, let those ideas go. Get out paper and pen and start jotting down pros and cons of all the different things when it comes to making a decision like this. What is hidden from you this week is anxiety. So you're not worried about this. It's kind of a fresh idea. I feel like you're definitely kind of in go for it mood, or go for it mode, I guess. But gathering that information, talking to people about it. Again, look up angel number 22, see if that means anything for you. Nothing set in stone, but it's just a good week for exploration. Again, that new moon comes around for us on the 23rd, so I wouldn't start anything new quite this week yet. Anyway, maybe at the end of the week you might come to an idea. But it's the new moon is about new beginnings and new things going on. So let's get a message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Let's get a message for Aries as they think about making this move. Bust out of your cocoon. Okay. Interesting. Are you in a cocoon? And are you ready to bust out of it? Because that's kind of what that's saying. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week. What does Aries need to do in the way of self-care as they're working through this decision? All right. The card that comes out for you is authenticity. And that card says, live life for you, not the audience in your head. So be authentic and be you. Is this something that you want to do? And sometimes in life, you think, oh, we're supposed to do a certain thing or do a thing in a certain, you know what? Nobody's making rules here. Those rules are, those are, I don't want to say the word false. It's kind of a weird illusion that we all put on each other that there's some way that you need to do a thing. it's life. You get to live it once. If there's something that you really love and something that you really want to do, and you're thinking about making that change, like I said, at least jot down things on a pen and paper, pros and cons and what it might change, and just try to think all those avenues through. And sometimes it's just about just go for it. Again, we learn by failure, so if you fail, you get to learn also. So how bad can it really be? But anyway, Aries, I wish you the best of luck as you're working through all of this. Again, nothing is set in stone, but definitely make sure you're putting some deep thought into this week. And again, the moon energy is perfect for that right now, so get out in nature, let your mind go, really just use your imagination to really imagine the future that you want, and work on manifesting that in whatever way it is for you. So, Aries, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much for being here with me today. If you are comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a message down below in the comments and let me know what it is that you're mulling over. What big change, new venture, what new thing are you thinking about doing? You might compare notes with some other Aries and see, what everybody's coming up with right now. I do post readings every week, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues, or if maybe you make a decision and we're on to the next energy, the next exciting thing for you about making a decision and what you may do. So come back then and we'll see if this energy changes for you. Also, if you like my reading style, of course, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, and more importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So thanks so much, Aries. See you next time. Bye bye.